Piglet sidled up to Pooh from behind. "Pooh," he whispered. "Yes, Piglet?" "Nothing," said Piglet, taking Pooh's paw. "I just wanted to be sure of you." "Promise me you'll always remember. You're braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think." Rivers know this. There is no hurry. We shall get there some day. One of the advantages of being disorganized is that one is always having surprising discoveries. "What day is it?" "It's today," squeaked Piglet. "My favourite day," said Pooh. If the person you are talking to doesn't appear to be listening, be patient. It may simply be that he has a small piece of fluff in his ear. I'm not lost, for I know where I am, but however, where I am may be lost. The things that make me different are the things that make me. Some people talk to animals. Not many listen, though. That's the problem. "I don't feel very much like Pooh today," said Pooh. There, said Piglet. "I'll bring you tea and honey until you do." "Oh, Tigger, where are your manners? I don't know, but I bet they're having more fun than I am." Piglet noticed that even though he had a very small heart, it could hold a rather large amount of gratitude. Some people care too much. I think it's called love. Sometimes, if you stand on the bottom rail of a bridge and lean over to watch the river slipping slowly away beneath you, you will suddenly know everything there is to be known. When you see someone putting on his big boots, you can be pretty sure that an adventure is going to happen. Don't underestimate the value of doing nothing, of just going along listening to all the things you can't hear and not bothering. "I wonder what Piglet is doing," thought Pooh. "I wish I were there to be doing it too." If there ever comes a day when we can't be together, keep me in your heart. I'll stay there forever. Friendship, said Christopher Robin, is a very comforting thing to have. Just because an animal is large, it doesn't mean he doesn't want kindness. However the big seems to be, remember that he wants as much kindness as Roo. Think. A bear, however hard he tries, grows tubby without exercise. Think it over. Think it under. You can't stay in your corner of the forest waiting for others to come to you. You have to go to them sometimes. What I say is that if a man really likes potatoes, he must be a pretty decent sort of fellow. It's not much of a tale, but I'm sort of attached to it. Nobody can be uncheered with a balloon. I did know once, only I've sort of forgotten. Hello, Rabbit. He said, is that you? Let's pretend it isn't, said Rabbit, and see what happens. Pay attention to where you are going, without meaning you might get nowhere. To the uneducated eye, it's just 3 sticks. She turned to the sunlight and shook her yellow head and whispered to her neighbour, Winter is dead. I don't see much sense in that, said Rabbit. No, said Pooh humbly, there isn't. But there was going to be when I began it. It's just that something happened to it along the way. Pooh, said Rabbit kindly, you haven't any brain. I know, said Pooh humbly. Weeds are flowers too once you get to know them. I was walking along looking for somebody, and then suddenly I wasn't anymore. My spelling is wobbly. It's good spelling, but it wobbles, and the letters get in the wrong places. You can't help respecting anybody who can spell Tuesday, even if he doesn't spell it right, but spelling isn't everything. There are days when spelling Tuesday simply doesn't count. I do remember, and then when I try to remember, I forget. You never can tell with bees. There must be somebody there because somebody must have said nobody. So perhaps the best thing to do is to stop writing introductions and get on with the book. But Piglet is so small that he slips into a pocket, where it is very comfortable to feel him when you are not quite sure whether twice 7 is 12 or 22. It is hard to be brave when you're only a very small animal. To her. Hand in hand we come, Christopher Robin and I, to lay this book in your lap. Say you're surprised. Say you like it. Say it's just what you wanted, because it's yours, because we love you. I think we dream so we don't have to be apart for so long. If we're in each other's dreams, we can be together all the time. But it isn't easy, said Pooh, because poetry and hums aren't things which you get, they're things which get you, and all you can do is to go where they can find you. Wherever they go, and whatever happens to them on the way, in that enchanted place on the top of the forest, a little boy and his bear will always be playing. For I am a bear of very little brain, and long words bother me. No brain at all. Some of them people, only grey fluff that's blown into their heads by mistake, and they don't think. Sometimes I sits and thinks, and sometimes I just sits. Organisation is what you do before you do something, so that when you do it, it's not all mixed up. Supposing a tree fell down, Pooh, when we were underneath it. Supposing it didn't, said Pooh after careful thought. Piglet was comforted by this. Some have brains and some haven't, and there it is. A little consideration, a little thought for others makes all the difference. But of course it isn't really goodbye, because the forest will always be there, and anybody who is friendly with bears can find it. I knew when I met you an adventure was going to happen. And by Christopher Robin came to the end of things, and he was silent, and he sat there looking out over the world, just wishing it wouldn't stop. Always watch where you are going. Otherwise you may step on a piece of the forest that was left out by mistake. Promise you won't forget me ever. Not even when I'm 100. We can't all, and some of us don't. That's all there is to it. But now I am 6, and I'm clever as clever, and now I think I'll stay 6 now forever and ever. When you do the things that you can do, you will find a way. Oh, are you wet? Said Piglet, feeling him. Ato shook himself and asked somebody to explain to Piglet what happened when you had been inside a river for quite a long time. And really, it wasn't much good having anything exciting like floods if you couldn't share them with somebody. There's the South Pole, said Christopher Robin, and I expect there's an East Pole and a West Pole, though people don't like talking about them. Any day spent with you is my favourite day. So today is my new favourite day. Sometimes, said Pooh, the smallest things take up the most room in your heart. Good judgment comes from experience, and experience, well, that comes from poor judgment. Sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in our hearts. They're funny things, accidents. You never have them till you're having them. No doubt Jack the Ripper excused himself on the grounds that it was human nature. Turn around, Piglet, stepped lightly Pooh. This silly old dance is perfect for two. On Tuesday, when it hails and snows, the feeling on me grows and grows that hardly anybody knows if those are these or these are those. He respects Owl because you can't help respecting anybody who can spell Tuesday, even if he doesn't spell it right. Mind over matter will make the Pooh unfatter. Forever long it all, Christopher, as long as I'm with you. What do you say, Pooh? Pooh opened his eyes with a jerk and said, Extremely. Extremely what? Asked Rabbit. What you were saying, said Pooh. Undoubtedly. Promise me you'll never forget me, because if I thought you would, I'd never leave. That's right, said Eeyore. Sing, Umpty Tiddly, Umpty Too. Here we go gathering nuts in May. Enjoy yourself, I am, said Pooh. His dress told her nothing, but his face told her things which she was glad to know. He thought how sad it was to be an animal who had never had a bunch of violets picked for him. When stuck in the river, it is best to dive and swim to the bank yourself before someone drops a large stone on your chest in an attempt to hoosh you there. A proper tea is much nicer than a very nearly tea, which is one you forget about afterwards. I always did whatever I liked, she said, but now I really can do it. People say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day.